Bugsnax is a really weird game. Did I just turn his arm into a strawberry? Oh good lord, what is that monstrosity? Oh great, the Bugsnax are now the size of small freight trains. Yet Bugsnax has a charm to it that I just can't quite explain. So please enjoy the journey I went on to 100% the entire game. And maybe consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video if you want to see more videos like this. This one is going to be a doozy, folks, so let's get right into it. Our adventure to 100%ing Bugsnax began in the sky, floating along in our ship on our way to Snacktooth Island. Upon checking my map, I suddenly heard the sound of a gigantic monster flying directly towards the ship. And well, big monsters and flying ships don't exactly pair well. And over the edge I went. My now unmanned ship continued to fly over the rocks, which meant I was now left to my own vices. After changing the sensitivity down a bit, I made my way through a cave and walked over a bridge. I should say hauled ass over it because that thing was about as stable as my parents' marriage. That was almost a quick video. As I moved forwards through the forest, I couldn't help but be a little scared. Bushes were rustling, the big monster flew by overhead. Hold up, is that a pizza? And it shook the ground so hard I tripped right over the ladder I was on and down I went. All of a sudden I was faced with an old-timey video of two grumpuses. Quick side note, grumpuses is the name of our species. These two grumpuses in particular were called Lizbert and Igabel. In the video they were documenting their discovery of Snacktooth Island, saying that they had brought a small community to the island, and the biggest draw to the island, Bugsnax, a delectable treat, which in Igabel's words,
"They're the most delicious thing in the world. You haven't lived until you've tried one."
This is what I was trying to explain to my boss. Yep, nothing like a bit of blunt force trauma to cause a flashback, am I right? Turns out I work for C. Clumby Clumbernut at GNN. Fantastic name if I do say so myself. Clumby wasn't too happy about anything I've done really, but I chose retaliation in the face of adversity, which was fun because I'd never do that in real life. My little trip through time was cut short as I awoke to my current situation. I followed a cute little Bugsnax to a clearing up ahead and found a grumpus groaning on the ground.
Lizbert, is that you? Thank Grump you're alive. Too bad I'm dying though.
Philbo quickly learned that I was not in fact Lizbert. However, I still offered my helping hand to him. The first Bugsnax catching skill I learned was to scan a Bugsnax with my snack scope. Once it is scanned, you'll notice that it tells me the name of the Bugsnax, the path it walks in, and what it likes and dislikes are. I reported my findings back to Philbo.
Do me a favor and take my snack trap.
And so it was my task to trap a Strabby. I initiated the trap outside of the bush, then ran and hid with Philbo behind a nearby rock. The Strabby appeared, I activated the trap, and then ran over to collect it before it could escape. And for my efforts, I got my first achievement. What happened next, I simply cannot explain. I fed the Strabby to Philbo in order to make him feel better, and when I did, Philbo's arm turned into a strawberry. Remember when I said that this game was weird? Yeah. Philbo then requested a few more Bugsnax, and hoping that I wouldn't be held responsible for the crazy side effects that the Bugsnax have, I obliged. Around the falls, I managed to snare, catch, and trap a few more Bugsnax. Not before getting my trap stolen by a green lolive. Those Bugsnax I then took back to Philbo, who was very grateful for them. And I have to say, you're looking pretty great, my friend.
Sorry, I was too busy dying to introduce myself. I'm Philbo Fiddlepie. I'm the, mayor around here.
It was clear to me that this small community of grumps had been expecting me, because Philbo made the connection that I was the journalist that Lizbert had told them about. Alas, just as we were about to proceed forward, Philbo made me aware of the fact that Lizbert might not be around when we got there. Great. The whole point of me coming out here was just flushed right down the metaphorical toilet. It turns out she's missing. Isn't that just fan-bloody-tastic? I then followed Philbo into a new area called Garden Grove, and we were promptly introduced to a second Grumpus.
Hey Wambus, how's the farm?
You're still alive? Thought you'd have starved to death by now.
Wambus here is a farmer. A farmer of what exactly? Sauces. That's right, he farms sauce. More specifically, ketchup. Philbo had a good go at convincing Wambus to return home with us.
Without Lizbert around to catch Bugsnax, I gotta keep us all fed.
we can't just eat ketchup.
Well, it's better than nothing. You want us to die out here?
But this garden is just so far away from everybody. Maybe you could start another one in town? Call this one quits?
I don't quit. Now kindly leave and take a ketchup for the road.
Well, now, that was unexpected. Per Wambus's request, I picked up some ketchup and used my slingshot to lure the bunga into the pen, saving the day yet again. We went to check in on poor Filbo. The bugger's been through a lot in the last 20 minutes. While Filbo recovers, I helped Wambus fill up on Bugsnax. If he was gonna leave the farm here for a better one in town, you might as well do it full of good Bugsnax. The first one on the list was a frider. Get it? Because it's a spider and it's made of fries. Every Bugsnax is like this, by the way. You cannot escape the puns. Also, I got distracted looking at murals on the wall. Anyway, catching the frider taught me that I could lure Bugsnax with certain sauces. Catching a couple of shish kebabs taught me that I could make other Bugsnax ram into things. Good to know. And finally, catching a bunga taught me that some Bugsnax are too wild to be caught in regular old snack traps. They need to be KO'd into submission so I could run up and use my snack catching net to snag my prize. Now full of Bugsnax, Wambus helped us with a way forward and said that he would meet us there.
Y'all just get along now. I'll catch up.
If I wasn't so scared of you and your Bugsnax modified body, I'd hit you for that one, Wambus.
Is this squeeb really talking to me right now?
I'd like to introduce you all to Biffica Winkle Snoot, the island's information specialist. Or as we'll all soon find out, the town's queen of gossip. Biffica wanted to show me how the journal works. However, I think I lost mine when I went overboard last night, so she offered me one of hers. I admired Biffica's little cave for a bit. I tried stealing her diary, but I got told off. And eventually I found the spare journal. Biffica took me through the basics. There's a Bugpedia page for any and every piece of info on the Bugsnax that I've scanned and caught. A Grumpedia, the same but for grumps I interact with. A clues and leads page with evidence I've uncovered on the whereabouts of Lisbeth. A snack pack page tells me what Bugsnax I currently have in my backpack. A quests page. And finally, a map of the island, which clearly still needs some work. Biffica wanted to chat more, but not with Filbo around, so I said sayonara for now, and Filbo and I headed into town. Running on a carrot and a strawberry, quite literally, Filbo led me into the heart of Snacksburg village. A little run down and a bit quieter than expected, but I did pop an achievement for reaching Snacksburg. And although I wasn't able to interview Lisbeth like I had hoped to, I did put Filbo through the ringer instead.
I mean, if you want to.
Why? Who are you?
I'm Filbo Fiddlepie. I guess I'm sort of like a deputy mayor? I don't know. I'm not good at most stuff, but I like to help out.
That's cute. Thoughts on Bugsnax?
Oh, they're great. I mean, they taste good and they make everybody happy, so what's not to love?
Any info on Lisbeth?
Lisbeth and me go way back. She always knew what to do, and she brought out the best in all of us.
I think he knows something that we don't. And with that, basically the tutorial section of the game was over. I now had the task to bring all of the Grumpuses back to Snacksburg. Destiny was now in my own hands. So I interviewed Wambus. Who are you?
Wambus Troubleham, farmer,
Why have you come to Snacktooth Island?
to start a farm.
This guy's giving me some short answers. Thoughts on Bugsnax?
What do I think about Bugsnax? They're pesky, tasty, and confusing.
Afterwards, Wambus handed over some notes about a strange device. Seems very intriguing, but there's no time to figure that out because before I knew it, I was back to Garden Grove. Now that Filbo and Wambus were no longer with us, okay, wow, that just makes them sound like they're dead. I mean, now that they are both residing in Snacksburg, Biffica wanted me to scan all of the new Bugsnax in the Grove. Bugsnax. Dude, look at that thing move.
OMG, you really got them all. I knew I picked the right Grumpus.
Turns out that Biffica and I have something in common, digging up the truth out of the lies, as she puts it. Biffica then asked me to figure out her favorite Bugsnax and feed it to her. Wow, I think it's that one. I paired my snack trap with a dollop of ketchup, and I had one weenie worm caught and ready for consumption. Happy with a snack and a sausage for an arm, Beffica asked another favor of me if I wanted her to move to Snacksburg. That was to dig up the dirt on Wambus. That's funny because he's a farmer. And to find out what he does before bed every night. Do I want to know what Wambus does every night before bed? Well, I'll have to if I want to convince Beffica to return home. Back in Snacksburg, Philbo was asking me about the broken down ship.
You know, it looks just a little bit, exploded, but I'm sure we can patch that up eventually.
I told him that the ship was, in fact, mine, and that he could fly it one day. But I did have some dirt to dig up, and I thought to myself that Lizbert's bed, since she was missing, would be available. Please don't ask me how ethical this is. So I napped until the evening. Bilbo and Wambus, as much as I'm warming up to them, were terrible company around the campfire. So I napped again until midnight. After waking up from my slumber, I rounded the corner to see Wambus up and about. And he is talking to a cactus? Unsure who Triffany is, I dozed off yet again. In Wambus's bed. I don't have my own, okay? Leave me alone. As the sun was rising, I offered my help to our resident farmer, who was trying his very best to conquer the niche market of growing Bugsnax. His first idea, which he tasked me with because he's too lazy or something, was to plant a root Bugsnax and a fruit Bugsnax in the garden. And I'll let you all know now that this takes me a good while to get back to this side quest. That's right, I abandoned this task quicker than I did my New Year's resolutions. Instead, I paid a visit to Garden Grove to go and tell Beffica all about Wambus's late night shenanigans.
OMG, Wambus has a fake cactus wife? Like he wasn't prickly enough already. 10 out of 10 perf dirt.
And with that, Beffica realized snooping and gossiping around town would be much more exciting than being out here. And I ticked off returning Grumpus number 2 to Snacksburg. Speaking of Snacksburg, I returned there shortly after to do some snooping. That's right, I took a page out of Beffica's book/diary and scanned a few personal items with my camera. Why bother with the trouble of communicating when I can learn the same information with a few quick snaps? Snooping aside, I took my first trip out to a new area called Simmering Springs. Awaiting me there was a new Grumpus. This particular Grump was giving Major Sheldon Cooper vibes.
Despite your lack of any and all useful skills, I require your assistance.
Through deep observation, I realized that this Grump was probably a scientist of some sort. They explained to me that the process of limbs turning into Bugsnax is, and what this Grump has labeled it, snackification. They then whipped out what I can only describe as a deadly looking laser. It was called a snacktivator. The snacktivator would allow me to choose what limb is affected when snackification happens. Did I mention this game was weird, by the way? Anyway, the mysterious Grumpus waddled off, leaving me wondering if coming to this island was actually worth it. Nevertheless, I continued onwards until I found 2 more Grumpuses conversing by the beach.
Wiggle, your song's nice and all, but you're scaring the little ones.
To give some context here, Wiggle here is a one-hit wonder superstar from the mainland, here on Snacktooth Island to find inspiration for a new song. Gramble, on the other hand, here is on the island as a Bugsnax rancher. He believes Bugsnax should be tamed and looked after rather than eaten. And, you know, I get the feeling, I don't know what it is, that Wiggle has a differing opinion.
Won't you join me for a long walk on the beach?
Like a date?
Of course, darling. It would just be you, me, and your delectable Strabbies.
Wiggle then left, which opened the opportunity to chat with Gramble by himself. And maybe I could convince him to come back to Snacksburg with me.
Trouble is, some of my snacks went missing. I'm not going back till they're all home.
Yeah, I knew it was never going to be that easy. He did insist on introducing me to a friend of his. His friend is a Strabby called Sprout inside of a hamster ball. And the best thing is, I can guide Sprout wherever I want him to go. Okay, that was pretty cool. For the meantime, I got to keep Sprout, and Gramble requested I find him 3 peel bugs from around the beach. And for the rest of the day, I explored that beach. I scanned, I scouted, I schemed, and yeah, I suck at finding these things. So I slept until the next day just to see if they came out at night. They didn't, but I could see one inside this hole. So I slept until morning for whatever reason. This is actually kind of pissing me off a little watching this. I can actually be a right dit sometimes. I have a little hamster ball with a Straby in it. Use it, Poxial. Why am I just staring at it? Okay, well eventually I got Sprout involved. Oh, there we go. Yay, I did it. Believe it or not, this is what I said in the moment. Yes! Oh my god. I'm a genius. I'm a genius. Not what I should have said, but hey, pop off, I guess. On the plus side, I had figured out how to catch peel bugs, so catching the remaining 2 was a breeze. Next on the Gramble to-do list was to catch him 2 Queebles. He made it very clear not to use my trap this time, however, so I had to get creative. I ended up slingshotting chocolate sauce all over Sprout, which allowed me to guide the Queebles where I pleased. It wasn't without its shenanigans. Turns out a lot of Bugsnax on the beach like chocolate sauce, but eventually I did get 2 Queebles back to Gramble.
Joey, you're back! Ashley, you're back!
For my efforts, Gramble graciously allowed me to keep Sprout for myself because he had finally been convinced to move back to Snacksburg. Another Grumpus down, and gosh, I was feeling good. I found Wiggle nearby in her own little cozy corner overlooking the sea, and I see why they call her Wiggle. God damn, look at that thing move. But I wasn't here to watch that thing wiggle, no siree. I was here to convince her to move back home. To no one's surprise, it wasn't gonna be that easy.
It will have to wait. I simply cannot rest until I find my muse. And by muse, I mean Bugsnax.
My first task on this diva's wish list was to find a Pinantula, which I snagged from dousing one in chocolate sauce, just for a Crabble to dig it up and yeet that thing into the air, letting me catch it with my Bugsnax net. I took it back to Wiggle and using the Snacktivator, snacktified her hair into the Pinantula.
Woo! Yeah, that struck a chord.
Fueled by a single Bugsnax, Wiggle craved more to keep those bug juices flowing, or riding juices flowing if you will. She then asked me to grab her a grape skeeto. I'll be honest, I spent a lot of time scouring the springs for any sign of a grape skeeto. Unfortunately, none appeared, so my next best guess was that there are nighttime Bugsnax, so off for a nap I went. Waking up in the night worked a treat because it was the first thing I saw as soon as I woke up from my slumber. I quickly grasped the workings of a grape skeeto. I shot a Straby with some chocolate sauce, the grape skeeto flew down to feed on the chocolate, and the gluttonous insect got so big that it gave me an opening to catch it with my bug net. Wiggle soon after got her hand on a big old grape, literally, which for some people would be terrifying, but for her...
Oh, I look fabulous. The colors are striking, no? And now the ideas will flow.
Unfortunately for both of us, inspiration did not indeed flow. Wiggle sought out one last opportunity for inspiration, this time in the desert. Yes, she wants me to brave a scorching hot desert to get her 2 pop ticks, and well, if it'll bring her home, then I'm happy to oblige. So I left things there for now. Something I didn't expect to see upon returning home was things heating up between Gramble and Wambus.
I wouldn't have come back if I knew you were here.
Well, I ain't about to leave now.
I got my eye on you, Wambus Troubleham.
A little trouble in paradise, perhaps. I then rudely woke Filbo up from his slumber. You know, I just had the feeling he wanted to talk. Turns out he wanted to throw a little welcome back party for the Grumpuses who had returned thus far. And what a better time than the present, right? Now, how would I sum up this party? Well, Beffica gave the party a 2 out of 10. I think Filbo may have eaten some Bugsnax that he was babysitting for Gramble. Then Wambus and Gramble got into an argument. Wambus thinks everyone wouldn't be in this mess if they could have eaten the Bugsnax Gramble's been raising. Gramble then took a dig at the fact that Wambus can't grow Bugsnax. Things certainly escalated.
Bugsnax will never love you.
You don't know a thing about love. That's why your wife left you.
Yeah, great party, Filbo. Great party. I was then urged to take a bite myself of a Bugsnax. However, that did not go down very well, and I ended up on the toilet for the rest of the night. After some rest and, I assume, blowing holes in the long drop, I made a fun discovery this morning that I could snackify a grump's teeth. Now that is crazy. Anywho, with nothing much else to do, I took off to the desert. I arrived in the scorched gorge this morning, and the first person I ran into reminded me of Anger from Inside Out. You know, little red guy in a tie. The image is uncanny. After following him to the top of the gorge, he introduced himself as Cromdo Face, the one and only salesman in paradise. And all he wanted to do was to sell me a bridge?
Friend, have I got a bridge to sell you? Beautiful, isn't it? Hardwood, new construction, huh? What a bridge!
For such a magnificent bridge, he asked for 100 Bugsnax, and unfortunately, due to the fact that I am about 100 short, he decided to give me a free piece of machinery, the launch pad. Combining the launch pad with Sprout the Strabby, I was able to launch the hamster ball 3 times to get the windmills going again for Cromdo. As payment, yeah, I learned early on that nothing is free when it comes to Cromdo. He asked me to get him 3 cheap hoofs. That's these flying Bugsnax right here. And for the next 5 or so minutes, I attempted to catch one, and failed, and failed, and failed, and failed again. Instead, I thought I'd brush that aside for now and focus on the pop ticks, which I am happy to report was a lot more successful. I figured out that if you annoyed the Scorpino up on the wall, he'd fire off a fireball at the pop ticks and pop them, making it possible for me to snare them in my trap. I hauled both of them back to the beach where Wiggle had been patiently waiting, turning her feet into popcorn, and yet despite the lack of inspiration from Bugsnax, she agreed to return to Snacksburg.
Though it pains me to return without a new single, I shall face the music and greet my adoring fans.
Once again in the warmth of Snacksburg, full of nosy neighbors who hate each other, Philbo had something exciting to show me. That something exciting was my very own mailbox.
And what's this? I think you might have a letter right now. Go ahead and check.
And thus I discovered that mail orders will in turn get me decorations and designs to customize my very own house. Well, it's not much of a house. In fact, I would barely call it a house, but hey, it's nice to start somewhere, I guess. I had a few more letters in my mailbox after this from all of the grumps who had made it back to town, and I can't help but be a little enthusiastic at the sight of a blank canvas. I love to decorate. Before I get too carried away, I headed back out to the desert to catch me some cheap hoofs. In the dead of night, I worked, testing out some alternative ways to catch a Bugsnax that never stops flying. Turns out the combination of launching my snack trap with the launch pad worked a treat. Side note, this Spuddy got locked in a fierce duel between it and a canyon pillar. I can't really tell who the winner was, but if I had to pick, I'd probably say the canyon. My snack trap launching had gotten me 3 cheap hoofs that I needed by the early morning, so back to Cromdo I went.
Okay. I know you're just itching to get your paws on that bridge, so I'll cut you a deal, friend. I want a freighter.
The freighter in question was that one, on the other side of the canyon, and when I launched my snack trap at it, well, it just flew right past. Good thing I got it on my second try. I had better spidey senses this time. Get it? Because it's a freighter? Spider? Never mind.
Pleasure doing business with you. You're my best and only customer. I'm starting to think I should get a better location back in Snacksburg.
I was on the cusp of getting Cromdo to return back home, but his final request was to turn his feet into big bopsicles, and I had a feeling that I did not have access to anywhere cold enough right now to find a big bopsicle. That didn't stop me from trying though. I attempted to brute force this bridge down, which didn't work, and I got between another Wiggle-Gramble argument. Wiggle really wants Gramble to take a night off, for reasons I'm sure are becoming quite obvious. However, I thought there might be another way to the colder regions of the island. Therefore, I put that hypothesis to the test by backtracking through the previous areas, like Garden Grove and Flavor Falls. But alas, they did not hold any secret path of any sort. All I did get was distracted. Are we surprised? Distracted trying to retrieve a bag of goodies the Beffica had lost. I didn't know at the time I'd get the reward in the mail. I thought I'd have to talk to her, and instead I ended up interviewing her.
I thought you'd never ask. OMG, I have so many hot takes.
Who are you?
I'm Beffica Winklesnoo, and I basically do whatever I want.
Sure, but what do you do professionally?
Let's just say I'm an information specialist. Unrelated fun fact, did you know that no international laws apply out here?
That's a little bit suspect. At the end of the interview, I got a key to Liz Burt's locked cabinet. I'm not sure how Biffica ended up with that, but I was content to take possession of it. I then unbeknowingly started a side quest for her, once again thinking it was for the sack I picked up. Biffica wanted me to snoop on Wiggle this time, to catch her partaking in some no good doings in the twilight. And then I saw my mailbox, and realized that the mail quest just gets completed via the mailbox. It makes a lot of sense, right? Afterwards I thought I would do another one, so I found a sack full of awards out at sea for Wiggle, and I was now very on board with how these mail quests work. The rain made for a moody interview setting, because it was time to put Gramble under the pump. We're interviewing Gramble. Who are you?
Gramble Giggle Funny. I look after all the Bugsnax in town and make sure they don't wander off.
Why'd you leave town?
Without Liz to bring in snacks, everybody got mighty hungry. They done treated my barn like a grocery store. I held them off for a while, but I should have known Wambus never quits.
What did Wambus do?
The next night I woke up to him throwing my snacks into a sack, and I let the rest go free. Broke my heart, but it's better than them getting eaten.
Your Bugsnax safe from Wiggle.
Wiggles a lot, but she's got a good heart. If she really likes me, she'll learn to love Bugsnax the way I do.
Are Gramble and Wiggle like a couple? Are they together?
Sometimes I wake up at night and I'm out of bed, lost in the woods. Think I see Lizbert out there watching me like a vengeful spirit.
At the end of it, Gramble gave me a diary key that Liz had lost a while ago. I then paid a visit to Lizbert's little hut and used the cabinet key to find a video reel. This is when I found out that I could play these tapes. These tapes, Biffica, if you please. As I was saying, these tapes, Biffica, seriously, stop. These tapes, okay, damn it, Biffica, stop it. Tape number 1 gave us some backstory on Lizbert and Igabel. Igabel seems to be the resident doctor around here, well, was, and Lizbert here led the township by being the primary Bugsnax hunter. And I think it's safe to say that Igabel and Lizbert are together, you know, romantic styles. Tape 2 depicted the two together yet again. This time, Igabel was having a bit of an existential crisis. She didn't feel fit to help the other Grumpuses, and felt like a bit of a failure. But Lizbert here picked her right back up and made her feel right as rain. Unfortunately, they were the only 2 tapes I'd come across so far, so it was back to work. Just after midnight the following day, I got my opportunity to spy on Wiggle. And surprise, surprise, she was headed to the barn. Seems like someone was looking for a midnight snack. Precautionary measures seemed necessary at this point, so I woke Gramble from his nighttime sleepwalking, just in case. In the early hours of the morning, I reported my findings back to Biffica.
OMG! Sounds like Wiggle has a nasty habit. I feel bad for Gramble. Those two just aren't gonna last.
In return for some information that in her words was really juicy, I had to go and find her a snack pod. They're simple to catch, but sometimes hard to find. Anyway, I bought one back for Biffica, and she stayed silent. No juicy info. Maybe the juicy info was the friends we made along the way. My attention instead turned to Gramble. He was upset he didn't have many Bugsnax to look after, so I went to remedy that. I returned home later that morning with a few more snacks, specifically for Gramble's barn. Donating them not only increased the size of my hut, but my inventory space too. It then occurred to me that I hadn't interviewed Wiggle yet, so I took care of that right away. Who are you?
You've certainly heard my #1 single, Do the Wiggle.
I had it stuck in my head for a solid month.
You see, Wiggle Wigglebottom needs no introduction.
Why come to Snacktooth Island?
Well, I'm here to gorge myself on a new life experience, to get my creative juices flowing, as it were.
So your juice isn't flowing.
You know, no hit can stay on top forever. And I'm afraid the audience didn't care for Wiggle's World or Wiggle Baby One More Time, and I've been accused of being a one-hit wiggle.
Are you using Gramble for his food supply?
Goodness, no. I love Gramble. I would never. He's far too sweet. Like a little strabby. No, I would never take advantage of him, no matter how easy it would be.
I don't know, I saw you the other night.
That night, when Liz went missing, I ran into the woods looking for her. But instead, I found something terrifying, towering over the trees. the queen of Bugsnax. Her screech was deafening, and I ran for my life.
After Wiggle's terrifying idea of a Queen Bugsnax, I'm not gonna sleep tonight, she handed over a map of Lisbert's last location, which I'm sure will come in handy later. Hey, remember all that time ago when Wambus asked me to grow some Bugsnax? Well, wouldn't you be surprised to know that I actually did it? I was too. I captured and planted both a root and a fruit Bugsnax in Wambus's garden.
Thank you kindly. I'll get those Bugsnax growing. You'll see.
Following this, I took up a side quest from Wiggle. Are we surprised it's to do with feeding her Bugsnax to get the creative juices flowing? No. Will I still do it? Absolutely. I had to get 2 sub-sandopedes, which I knew was in the Flavor Falls area. So off I went. What preceded was about 10 minutes of trial and error. And I mean a lot of trial and a lot of error. Some highlights included the launch party achievement. Not too sure how I got that, but hey. A lot of trying to launch the Sandopede apart. Another achievement unlocked for exploring under one of the waterfalls. This ominous looking door. Oh, and I completely glitched out the Sandopede after launch number 1647. But just before the end of another day, yes, I spent all day on this, I finally got the inchworm atop the hill to stun the Sandopede, allowing me to capture a few of them in one go. And to make all that pain and misery worth it, I popped the Quartermaster achievement for catching 25 unique species of Bugsnax. After feeding the 2 Sandopedes to Wiggle, she admitted to her lack of hard work on her one-hit wonder. I'm starting to get the feeling she's here to prove herself worthy of all of that success. And after a quick dive into the psyche of Wiggle the one-hit wonder, I headed back to the desert, this time to convince another Grumpus to return to Snaxburg. The Grumpus in question was
Triffany Lotta Vlog. You caught me doing some archaeology. Try not to step on the skulls, yeah?
As we're all well aware, it wouldn't be easy convincing Triffany to move back to Snaxburg, so I decided to aid in her archaeological endeavors. She wanted me to catch some ribblepeds in hopes they might tell us more about the skeletons she dug up. I caught 3 easy enough. All that did was tell us that they're not quite what we're looking for. Instead, she wanted to expand her search to a dwelling nearby, so she inquired me to go and get that door open. Not to worry, I know a crazy little spud that'll smash that door right open. Once we were inside, I met up again with Triffany.
As far as I knew, we were the first grumps to settle this island. But here we got 1,000 years of history unaccounted for.
Something else that took our fancy was the hidden whereabouts of a chamber that may or may not have stored Bugsnax. Very exciting. Some assembly required by your own risk. All sales are final. Offer void where prohibited. Shirt and shoes optional. May contain nuts or shellfish. Guaranteed not guaranteed. Oh, sorry, got distracted for a bit there. Speaking of getting distracted, for some reason I got really caught up on trying to finish Cromdo's quest. You see, I thought the hidden chamber that Triffany sought out was across the bridge. Therefore, I needed to finish Cromdo's quest to get across. I thought I'd further things also by finding the locked diary, since I did have the key, but that was also nowhere to be found. Long story short, I returned to the desert and eventually found this breakable door. Ah, finally some progress. As you can tell, I'd been at that for a while. The chamber itself was a little underwhelming. I did snare a shy weenie worm, however, which I took back to Triffany.
The taste is a little off. I'm wondering how long those snacks were in there.
Me too, my friend. Seriously, why would you eat that? It took some convincing and pulling the Wambus dressed a cactus to look like you card, but eventually I did persuade her to return home. And with that, I ticked off returning Grumpus number 5. Back in Snaxburg, the heat of the desert had followed Triffany back home, it seems, because I ran right into a heated discussion between her and Wambus.
It's just, I can't grow much out in that desert.
Yeah, and you got a lot of growing to do.
Not all is fair in love and war, as they say, but they did make up by the end of the convo, so there you go. With Triffany back in town, I pulled out the old notebook and recorded to get another interview under my belt. Alright, Triffany, who are you?
Oh, I go digging up bits of history and try to piece them back together. It's usually not so dramatic. Just an old coin or a severed toe under a rock. But this island's chock full of finds.
Why'd you come to Snacktooth Island?
I heard about the trip to Snacktooth and thought, well, I could keep scraping at odds and ends till the day I die, or I could really get out there. Try following in Grandma's footsteps.
Who is Grandma? Yeah, that's a good question.
You might have heard of Bronica, Lottablog, an adventuring type just like Lizbert. She filled up our old house with relics and sketches, taught me to love history.
Any info on Lizbert?
Lovely gal, that Lizbert. Wasn't often we'd both be in town at the same time. And when we were, we'd usually be in the medical tent, getting treated by Agabel. We'd swap stories about what we found and show off our grisliest scars.
At the end of the interview, Tiffany revealed a locked journal of Lizbert's. Could have done with this about an hour ago, but hey, better now than never. Using the key to open up the journal revealed Lizbert's notes about a secret code. Upon further inspection, it seemed to be half a page torn in half, revealing the start of a code to some sort of pressure plate puzzle. Very interesting. Following this, I got caught up in a mail order quest to scan a shy weenie worm in ketchup. I did it, but the weenie worm wasn't too happy about it. And when I got back to Snacksburg, Philbo decided it would be a good idea to gather the grumps for a night of ghost stories. This possibly can't go wrong, can it? That night, all of the grumpuses and I met around the campfire in the middle of town, and we exchanged scary stories. After Philbo went off to the little boy's room, we heard him scream out, and of course it was up to me to investigate. And yet, there was no one there. With everyone safe and sound and accounted for back around the campfire, Wiggle blessed our ears with a Queen Bugsnax ballad.
She conducts this delicious orchestra, bringing music to our mouths.
Grumpin' Snacks, it's coming for us!
Once again, it was up to me to go and investigate whatever that was. Inside the mill, I investigated and stumbled into this geezer called Chanlo.
Chandlo? Whoa, it's Philbo! And somebody new? Hey, how are you?
Turns out this grump came down from the mountain to investigate what he thought was a big fire. And before we knew it, he was off again. Off to someone called Snorpy. Bilbo and I reported back to the others, and that was about the end of that. Once the sun was up in the sky shining again, I took the opportunity, now that the bridge to the mountains had been knocked down, to explore a brand new area. This brand new area was called Sugar Pine Woods, and after scanning a few new Bugsnax that were hanging around in the area, I made my way up to the cabin. Chanlo was there, and I was able to put a face to the name Snorpy.
Snorpy? Snorpy! Bro, Snorpy, get out here!
I'm sorry, Chandlo, I'm not coming outside. I'm this close to finishing my next invention. Return to your lifting in peace.
To best describe these two, Chanlo is like the grump version of a gym bro, and Snorpy is the grump version of a conspiracy theorist. A match made in heaven, am I right?
I'ma lift your crib, dog!
I put the question to Chanlo about coming back to town. He refused, not surprising, saying that it gives Snorpy, and I quote, mad anxiety. Like, I think we can say we've all been there. After a bit of exploring and scouting out of my new surroundings, I got to work on gaining Snorpy's trust.
I propose a test. Here, take my newest invention, the snack grappler. I built it so that I could help Chandlo with his basketballing problem.
Chanlo and I put the snack grappler to the test on his homemade basketball court. I grappled in a few basketballs and shot some hoops that would make Kobe proud. I then combined the launch pad with my snack trap to catch a snail that was out of reach. And using the grappler, I managed to pull it in for capture. Also, Chanlo could climb like a snail. That wasn't even the end of it. He wanted 2 more for maximum climbing potential. I obliged and trotted off into the woods where I caught a couple more. Chanlo downed the 2 snails, no problem. Then requested I go and catch him a couple of honeybees. Why? Because they took his balls. His basketballs, that is. The honeybees weren't too tricky to catch, although when pissed off they covered me in a weird white substance. There's a joke here, but you know, I do have younger viewers, so I shouldn't. So come on me, it's time to take those honeybees back to Chanlo.
Oh, Grump, my body's tingling. I think that's the power.
The honeybees were the cherry on top for Chanlo, and he was ready to return home, but just not without Snorpy. So I went back to convincing that crazy old coot.
Here, new chum, lean in close so that I may bestow a hug on you. What an excellent hugging experience that was. We shall have to do that many more times.
Well? That was, odd. Anyway, Snorpy had another invention for me to test. I used some jump pads to launch myself to the top of a nearby watchtower. And that hug? Snorpy had used it to attach a radio tracking device to me. Oh, lovely. The invention was the trip shot, a perfect device to KO any flying Bugsnax that I may want to catch, unless they're on fire, in which case capture is not a good idea. Next on the convince Snorpy to return home to-do list was to catch a quickie.
Why, my craving is so terrible that I would like my teeth to be quookies, so that I may taste my own teeth, you see.
The problem? I think capturing a quickie took me longer than it took me to capture 2 sandopedes. As much as I hate to admit it, the big bopsicle nearby also didn't help. My skirmish with the speedy little bugger came to an end when I finally got it with the trip shot, which I swear I had tried a few times already, but I was too excited to care. Snorpy's final request was to feed him 2 charmellows. The interesting thing about charmellows, as seen previously, is that they are on fire, so when they are in a state of capture, they also need to be cooled down somehow. Luckily, there were some bopsicles around to do the trick. On the other hand, the charmello heated the bopsicle up. Therefore, I was very fortuitous when they crashed into each other and I was able to swipe both Bugsnax. The other charmello I tripped into a little pond of water, essentially achieving the same thing. Now that Snorpy had been persuaded to return back home to Snacksburg, both him and Chandlo were ready to head off.
Alright, let's get out of here. Race you back to town, Snorp Dog.
Please don't make me run with you, Chandlo. I'll go weak in the knees.
If you're not up for it, I could always carry you.
No, that's quite all right.
Your loss. See you back in town, bro.
Chandlo.
And with that, we'd return to Grumps 6 and 7. I don't know how we did it, but in the time it took for me to get back to Snacksburg, which was about 20 seconds, Chandlo had put walls and a roof up on my hut. Goodness me, he works quick. In return, I got him to answer some interview questions. Interview Chandlo, who are you?
Chandlo Funk Bun. I lift.
Lifting is a job?
It's a way of life, bro. Anything that needs to go up. Logs, buildings, balls, Snorpy. I'll get him there.
That's Snorpy.
I'm always looking out for Snorpy. I know roughing it isn't his style, but there's no way I was coming here without him. Lizbert is top dog, you feel me? She really inspires me to test my limits. But, that's about it. I'm really tighter with Eggabell. She was always looking out for me. Showed me how to stay safe while still pushing my limits.
Really slam dunked my questions, and he did.
Bro, that's not... just... don't.
Everyone so far has had a piece of the missing Grump puzzle, and Chandlo was no exception. He gave me a chest key, and when I used it on the chest in Lizbert's home, I got another video diary. This video diary actually didn't involve Lizbert. Instead, it was Chandlo and Eggabell. This tape was all about highlighting the fact that Eggabell doesn't feel like she's pulling her own weight. She wants the strength and capability to keep up with Liz and her Bugsnax hunting. An interesting development to the case, but that was the end of the tape, unfortunately. So I turned to Snorpy for another interview and maybe some more answers.
I suppose I can reveal a tad bit, so long as my identity is protected. I am Snorp Redacted. I have devoted my life to inventing devices that foil the machinations of the Grumpinati. I was dragged here by my dearest friend, Redacted. He thought I needed some fresh air or something. Much as I hate the outdoors, I simply can't say no to him. I mean, we've been together since kindergarten. It would make perfect sense if we were together. Elizabeth Megafig was a curious sort and hadn't a foolish bone in her body. She could rival me in wit and Redacted. Blow and arm wrestling, we would share secrets now and again. I'm not telling you the terrible secrets because they are terrible and secret.
Okay, well, that seemed like a pretty bog standard interview. I'll just be on my way.
Excellent interrogation, chum. So great that you deserve another hugging experience.
The note Snorpy had silently relinquished was a map of where the pressure plate puzzle may be. I'll keep a safe hold of this piece of evidence. The map Wiggle had given me ages ago photo of Lisbert's last known location looked very similar to Sugar Pine Woods. And hey, would you look at that? I followed it all the way to the cliff's edge, and wouldn't you know it, there was a video diary. I inserted the video into the tape player back on Snacksburg, and I got comfy. The tape did involve Lisbert this time, however, the vibes were not chill, as the cool kids say, right? Igabel and Lisbert were at odds. Liz thinks that Igabel has had too many Bugsnax, and that weird scientist who gave me the Snacktivator was also in this video, and Lisbert didn't seem too keen on their scientific practices. It would seem as if their relationship was being put to the test, but that was the end of another tape, and I definitely had more questions than I did answers. While I contemplated those questions, I started up a side quest with Snacksburg's favorite archaeologist Triffany. She dug up a journal in the canyon that contained historical landmarks and Bugsnax, and the first location to search was Flavor Falls. When we got there, I had to scan a big stone face of a grumpus, which I did, and to catch a pinkle, which I also did. Aside from that, well, we didn't find too much else, so we called it there for now. Triffany's other half, Wambus, was also after my assistance. His next big Bugsnax garden growing idea was to get a spuddy, and after a quick trip out to the desert to catch one, I had one in my backpack. Was it to plant? Oh, no. In fact, it was to feed it to Filbo. Why Filbo? Well, apparently spuddies render the poor guy toilet bound, and what we get out of this twisted act of using poor Filbo for his IBS is some fertilizer.
Ooh-wee! That stink could raise the dead. That's bound to be potent enough for my soil. Thanks, stranger.
Look, I don't know if I want to keep helping Wambus out or not. The side quest grind didn't stop there though. I helped Gramble in his quest to train more Bugsnax to be like Sprout by guiding a Queeble along an obstacle course with Sprout. However, I get the feeling it didn't really work, and I ventured around the island catching many aggressive meaty Bugsnax. Also, I could turn Chandlo into the big meat-headed gym bro he was always meant to be.
Oh yeah! You may not like it, but this is what peak performance looks like.
Chandlo upped the intensity of his training. My task was to drop weights on him, and I'm not kidding either. I was literally dropping dumbbells on him. Hey, he seemed to enjoy it.
I feel swole, dog!
However, it didn't help him lift this tree stump that he was trying to clear away. I then abused Gramble's sleepwalking habit by feeding him a Bugsnax, something he would never do, and it did unlock an achievement that I don't think I should be very proud of. And to wrap up another storyline, I finally lugged those bopsicles I had caught a couple of days ago out to the desert. I fed them to Cromdo and turned his feet into popsicles. Look, his request, not mine. And he handed me ownership of the bridge.
Oh, and so you know, Cromdomart is not responsible for any loss or injury suffered as a result of the use of its products. If you need anything else, anything at all, please call your friend Cromdo.
I watched the slimy salesman walk away. On one hand, another grump was back in Snacksburg. On the other hand, the bridge was a scam. It literally broke, and I have no way over. Damn you, Cromdo. Damn you! When I returned home, I walked into a heated discussion between the sleazy salesman and Biffica.
What am I doing? I'm working the counter. Cromdomart's back in business, baby.
Don't act all innocent. If you start running scams again, I'll know.
And I woke Cromdo up in the middle of the night for questioning. Hey, you scammed me? You better start talking.
Business king, sales savant, future CEO of Starbucks, the one, the only, Cromdo Face! You ever smelled the future, kid? I could tell you, Lisbeth stank of opportunity. She came on TV talking big about this new superfood, and I wanted in. So I quit my dead-end job and followed that stench of possibility. I tried to make use of what Lisbeth didn't need anymore, and Beffica didn't like that. Yeah, she went and told everyone that I'm a thief. Beffica planted evidence in my hut, said I stole her diary. So I did what any honest grump would do. I ran. I gotta confess, I was thinking about sailing home after things got hairy. But when I went looking for our boat, it was gone. There's only 2 grumps missing. You do the math. I bet Liz and Egg are living large in New Grump City by now. Just go check out where the boat was. See what you think of Lisbeth after that.
My compensation from Cromdo was a map to another location where Lisbeth may have been last seen leaving the island. With another interview down, I reported back to Filbo. We almost had everyone back, and he suggested that I get some rest. I had been working overtime to help out, so I thought it was a good idea. In the middle of the night, I was woken awoken by Beffica's scream in the distance, and we went over to investigate.
Beffica, Gramble, what happened?
We saw something real spooky walk right into town.
I thought it was a Grumpus at first, but something about it was wrong.
After exchanging theories about this mysterious creature, it was up to me to gather some clues. Bilbo gathered everyone around after I had done collecting clues. There was a lot of discussion about the state of Snaxburg, what with the supposed earthquakes, mysterious figure, missing grumps, and all around weirdness. But we agreed to find the remaining grumps and go from there. After a bit of shut-eye, I awoke as the sun was shining again, and I went around town talking to a few grumps, starting up some side quest requests. Chandlo's side quest to get as jacked as possible took us all the way back to Flavor Falls. He'd heard rumors of a legendary size Bugsnax, and remember that weird door I found a while ago? Well, Chandlo ripped that thing right off its hinges, and believe it or not, there it was, a Mama Mowen.
All right, you big bug, here comes the Chandlo Slam!
Well, with Chandlo out for the count, it was up to me to capture this big beast of a Bugsnax. It took me a while to figure out how to wrestle with the Mama Melon, and eventually it dawned on me that the Mama Melon was very fond of its little babies.
Hey, over here! I got your baby ball!
With the Mama Mowen captured, I fed it to Chandlo.
I was hoping I'd get twice as big or something. Just the same Chandlo.
Chandlo did not find much solace in the end, but I had taken down a legendary Bugsnax, so hey, at least I was feeling good. Not feeling so good were Wambus and Triffany. Things looked a little shaky when I returned to Snaxburg afterwards. I had a quick chat to Wambus, who asked me to find any sort of Bugsnax that burrows underground, in a last-ditch attempt to make his Bugsnax growing dreams come true. However, that would have to wait, because over in the Scorched Gorge, I found Chandlo out there of all people. The big lovable lug had rebuilt the bridge that Cromdo had sold to me. I crossed that bridge and entered a brand new area called the Sizzling Sands. At first glance, this place was just a big old barren wasteland, and I wasted no time getting my camera out and scanning all of the new Bugsnax. Close by, I found another grump, who will no doubt need convincing to return home. Shelda.
This one has many questions. So it is my wisdom shall be shared.
She's giving boxed up fortune teller at the fair kind of vibes right now.
In seeking inner peace, Shelda has renounced material temptations. So it is that Shelda is really grumping hungry.
Wise old Shelda sought out yellow sauce, and after a bit of searching, I found exactly what she was looking for, some cheese sauce. Since it was up so high, I had to make use of my launch pad to get some, but eventually she got her cheese sauce.
Ooh, yum is one. And one is craving rebirth.
Rebirth comes in many forms, but for Shelda, it was to break out of her Shelda. And for me, that was literally breaking open igloos around the place. Shelda then yapped on about destroying obstacles, so I had to go and blow up 2 praying Picantuses. How does one do that, you may ask? Well, you piss them off into following you to water, and then you watch them break open in front of your very eyes. The second one, I had to launch off its platform, but we got it in the end. Back to Shelda I went, and she started going on about purging toxins. Unsure what that has to do with an underground raspberry, but hey, who am I to argue? I used an angry buffalocust to break through the rock into the underground ruins. Sure enough, the raspberry was there, and after a bit of difficulty, I managed to guide the raspberry with the help of my trusty Strabby Sprout. I guided it through the ruins and out into the cool night air.
Ah, what once was lost now is found. The path to light determined. The time has come. Egress from the sandscape. So it is that Shelda survives.
Look, I don't know if I understood half of what Shelda was saying that whole time, yet I had somehow convinced her to return home. Go me, I guess. Once I was back in town, a few things happened. Wambus and Gramble were having a go at each other. I donated a few Bugsnax I had captured out in the desert to Gramble. Snorpy had removed the stump Chandler had been training to move, and for some reason, the game decided to make me sleep until the next day. No idea why. It did incentivize me to empty out my mailbox, however. It was very full. And after a bit of home decorating, I decided to follow Cromdo around in the dead of night to see what the slimy salesman was up to.
Not awake, not asleep. Get up, everybody. Come on and do the wiggle with me.
Wow, seems Cromdo is a big Wiggle fan. I ran into Beffica and told her all about Cromdo's secret nighttime boogie.
OMG! That explains why he's always so jealous of Wiggle.
Afterwards, I woke Shelda up from her meditation-like trance to ask her a few questions.
One is called Shelda. One who is me acts as a vessel for the will of Mother Nature. So it is. One maintains balance and purity. Mother Nature, the mother from whom all life flows. She, the huntress, is gone from us, strayed from the mother's path, chasing the healer's tainted love. Thrice were they warned, so this once you shall be warned. A doom befalls those who consume the toxin. A doom of toxin unending. The ground shakes, the sky splits.
At least listening to all of that mumbo jumbo got me a locked box. With no key, however, I'd have to wait to unlock it. So in the meantime, I took my first trip out to Boiling Bay, a new part of the beach where lava meets the sea. My camera was the first thing I pulled out. I got to scanning new Bugsnax as I usually do. Funnily enough, I came across a Sherby, which I spent a bit of time trying to capture. With it in my possession, I planted it along with two other burrowing Bugsnax in Wambus's garden.
You've done right by me, stranger. Thanks for sticking with me. Come back tomorrow. We'll see if this bears fruit.
I did, in fact, visit Wambus again after a bit of time. I got sidetracked to the desert to get a praying Picantus for Gramble, which I failed miserably to catch, by the way. But that gave those Bugsnax time to not grow. Poor Wambus told me he left the mainland to pursue over here what he couldn't do back home, and I don't think he can do it any better over here, but I convinced him that his source was just as important. The following day, I went back to the desert, determined to catch that praying Picantus for Gramble. I'm happy to report that this time it was a lot more successful. I was able to donate the Bugsnax to Gramble back in town. However, I still had a whole new area down by the beach to sink my teeth into. Thus, I headed back to Boiling Bay. Floofty, the ethically questionable scientist, was the only grump left I needed to convince to return home. You reckon Floofty will come back?
Absolutely not. I'm on the verge of a breakthrough. Now assist me or be gone with you.
Yeah, I didn't think so. To aid in Floofty's grand experiment, I had to get them a red Banopper. And while chaos was brewing around me, I managed to trip one out of the air and catch it with my bug net. Catching that Bugsnax actually unlocked another achievement, halfway there for catching 50 unique species of Bugsnax. I turned Floofty's arm into a red banana as requested, and they asked me to hand the Snacktivator back.
The old Snacktivator was worthless scrap. I have updated it. It is now capable of altering snack matter through a process of sonic anamnesis. My body remembers what I eat. The Snacktivator can change snackified limbs into anything I've ever eaten.
Well, now that is certainly an upgrade. Convinced that they'd be able to change modern medicine forever, Floofty required further testing. In my endeavor to collect a few cocoa mites, I realized that they are quite tricky to catch, and I hadn't quite mastered the art of the trip shot just yet, so it did take me a hot minute to catch all 4 that Floofty needed, but eventually I got the job done. Using this new technology, I turned Floofty's blank canvas of a body into a hodgepodge of various Bugsnax. What was the line between Grumpus and Bugsnax if I were to totally transform a Grump? That is a question Floofty longed to answer, and they were convinced to return home to figure that out. Should I warn the others that Floofty is on their way? I'm a little scared, not gonna lie. When I returned to Snacksburg later that afternoon, I dropped off some leftover Bugsnax that I had brought back with me from Boiling Bay, and in doing so, I increased my inventory space. However, I was starting to regret the decision to bring Floofty back.
Oh, please. Don't try to dress up your cowardice.
I'm no coward.
You still haven't told the green meathead how you feel.
But whether that's different, don't try to confuse the issue.
Things are still a little tense, I see. As the evening was approaching, I decided to tackle some side quests. For Biffica, I caught some snack pods from the beach and fed them to her later that night.
Isn't it so sad that I call you my bestie? I barely know you. And if I did get to know you, you'd probably hate me for it. Enjoy it while it lasts, Biffy.
And just before the day changed over, I took some time to pull Floofty aside and interview the egotistical Grumpus.
I am Floofty Fizzlebean, the world's first gastroentomologist. In baby language, I study Bugsnax and their effect on grumpuses. When Elizabeth Megafig was recruiting for her cult of personality, I observed something strange about her arm. She was keeping it hidden, but she displayed early stages of snackification. That piqued my interest. Every time I tried to publish my groundbreaking research, you journalists instead churn out slander about my dangerous methods or my questionable behavior. Stop editorializing and focus on the science. I simply wanted to continue my work, Eggabell or no, but Shelda blamed me for the disappearances. I'm no stranger to witch hunts. I vacated before the pitchforks could come out. Eggabell truly understood my research. She was hungry to participate in it. Our work together was fruitful, even pleasant, until somebody interfered. Shelda, that mummified fraud, stoked Elizabeth's fear of my work, weaponizing her relationship to Eggabell, scrambling her fragile emotions, and fabricating a binary choice between myself and Elizabeth. Ultimately, Eggabell chose sentiment over science, and I surmise that was the death of her.
Just like every other interview, this Grump was no different than the others. In fact, they handed me over another piece of the puzzle, a key to the lockbox that Shelda gave me. I was making my way over to it when I ran into a convo between Shelda and Chandlo.
I bet you're overflowing with wisdom now. Go ahead and lay it on me, Sheldog.
Ah, yes, wisdom. The strength you seek cannot be found within toxins, for the truest strength is the will to resist.
Look, Chandlo isn't the brightest, but I get the feeling that Shelda isn't as mysterious as she puts forward. Anyway, I used the key on the lockbox, and I got another video reel. This tape showed Lisbeth on a trip up in the mountains. She was in the middle of mentioning the pressure plate door when Eggabell showed up halfway through, presumably ready to prove herself to Lisbeth. The ending was a little ominous, but that was the end of the final tape. I know that because I got an achievement for it. Afterwards, I noticed Floofty was looking for help, God knows what with. They asked me to reach out to other Grumpuses to see if they would assist. Are we surprised that every single one of them said no? Because I am not. That being said, I felt obligated to help out. My task was to fully transform Floofty, head to toe in Bugsnax. So I then spent the morning out on the island collecting all sorts of Bugsnax for this quest. After a good amount of time, I fed Floofty the final snack, transforming him into a smorgasbord of Bugsnax. Floofty waited until nighttime to start this experiment. I assumed so that no other Grumpuses would be around to interrupt Floofty chopping off their own head. Oh yeah, did I mention that? No? Okay. Well, yeah. Off with their head! Thank goodness Snorpy was able to stop Floofty before they did something they'd regret, even if Floofty called Snorpy a, and I quote, selfish, spineless, slack-jawed baby. I don't know about you, but I would have put them back under the saw if they called me that. But nonetheless, Floofty, for the first time I think, admitted where they were wrong. Shock horror. I need that in writing. After what was close to a horror show, I decided to further my bond with Triffany with another journal treasure hunt. This time we headed out to Boiling Bay. All I had to do out here was to scan a treasure chest and feed Triffany a palatos. What we did learn, the shipwreck belonged to Grumpbeard, maybe a Bugsnax's size is relevant to its age, and Triffany revealed that the journal she had found had actually belonged to her grandmother. another. It turns out Tiffany was here on the island to follow in her footsteps, and in that search maybe find out what happened to her. I hope we can, but for now I continued the side quest grind when I returned to Snacksburg that morning. Beffica wanted to know what Chandlo gets up to in the middle of the night, and she said it all while Chandlo was standing an inch away from her. He's literally right there. Let's just hope that watermelon is good at blocking out noise. 2 past the time I just slept. Maybe Chandlo would forget what he may or may not have overheard. I went to investigate the lug, and all I found was Chandlo getting in some nighttime weight reps. Hey, good on you, buddy. I reported back to Beffica, who suggested we take another approach, this time with Snorpy. Her idea? To use green colored Bugsnax to disguise herself as Chandlo. Weird, I know, but as her bestie it was up to me to transform her into a Chandlo lookalike. Once Beffica was totally a knockoff Chandlo, we surprised Snorpy while he was without his glasses.
Chandlo, is that you? I can't see. Let me get my glasses.
Oh, there's no time, bro. This is important.
Oh, well, all right then.
You remember that deep, dark secret we were talking about? You know, the really super secret one?
I suppose it is time we talked about it. Chandlo, it's hard for me to know what you're thinking. And I've been afraid of talking about it for so long. But the truth is, Chandlo, I love you with every fiber of my heart.
That's not a secret to anybody.
Beffica, when did you get here? How dare you intrude on our private moment?
She just ran off, dog. Like, I'm gonna go chase her.
Okay, well that felt a bit mean, but Beffica was too upset about the lack of dirt on Chandlo, so I just left her to it. I woke up the next day with an urge to mess around with Floofty's appearance, and once I'd knocked that urge, I went and had a chat with Shelda. She basically told me that this box here is a place where I can purge the toxins, or for us simple folk, donate some Bugsnax. So I placed one in the box and was asked to return later. In the meantime, I decided to offer my help to Snorpy.
I've discovered something terrible. My seismic readings show that activity in the mountain is growing stronger and more frequent over time. We must find the source of the quakes before the situation grows out of control.
But that would require me to access the final area of the game, and I wasn't quite ready to go there just yet. So instead, I filled up my time with some mail order quests. Some time had passed once I got bored of the mail order quests, so I returned to Shelda to see what my purging of toxins had done. Shelda? I think I smell a slight hint of bullshit on the wind. Do you?
This is why one sits in meditation every day for 6 hours, repeating the mantra. Don't think about Bugsnax, don't think about Bugsnax, don't think about Bugsnax. One never thinks about Bugsnax.
And to no one's surprise, she wants more. Instead of giving in to Shelda's cravings, I opted to visit the final area of the game. The newly formed dream team that is Tiffany and Wambus had so kindly cleared the way to the top. And here we were at the Frosted Peak. Much like every other area, I pulled out my camera to start snapping some of the new Bugsnax. And well, would you look who it is?
You shouldn't be here. It's not safe. You need to get off this mountain for the sake of your health and well-being. Trust me, I'm a doctor.
The one and only Igabel had been up here for weeks, searching for Lisbeth, just like we had been. She explained that the earthquake that had hit separated them, and she ran off into the cold air. And look, maybe it's not the time to say, but I got an achievement. Yay. I wandered off to see where Igabel had run off to, and I found her in front of the pressure plate door that we'd seen in Lisbeth's notes. It turns out that Igabel had no clue how to open the big mysterious door. Lucky for her, however, I had been collecting those very pages that'll help us. The only page I was missing was from the Boiling Bay area. I followed the map that Cromdo had given to me to find it, and I quickly made my way back up to the top of the mountain.
Oh my grump, where'd you find this? Good work. Liz says I'll need to activate these statues by feeding them the snack they represent. Thanks for the help. I'll take it from here.
Two can play at that stubborn game, Igabel, because I'm helping, and there's nothing you can do about it. We agreed to catch half each, because I'm just an itty-bitty bit of reporter, and I decided to catch the easiest Bugsnax, which included a mountain sodie, a strudler, and a scoopy. I hauled them back to the door and inserted them into their respective statues.
You're okay. You are okay, right? No drowsiness, numbness, or missing limbs? Sorry. Don't mind me. I got the rest of the snacks. Next she says, she says we need 3 Grumpuses to do the final step.
If my kindergarten maths taught me anything, 3 is way more than 2. Thus, we needed 1 more grump to open the door. Igabel proposed to ask Filbo. If there's anyone who is willing to help, it's definitely gonna be him. After a quick trip down the mountain, I found Filbo in town, and he was totally on board.
This is a big mountain, huh? A lot of steps.
Oh, Grump, I knew this was a bad idea.
I'm fine, really. You look just like my friend Agabel. Agabel! Oh, it's really you! Oh, you're here, alive, and not dead!
Having reunited the pair, we took off to the door.
Whoa, what is that thing?
Liz thought it might be some kind of ancient temple to Bugsnax.
Oh, wait a minute. If this door takes 3 of us to open, how would Lizbert get inside by herself? What makes you think she's behind it?
Because she has to be. I looked everywhere else.
Well, it definitely looks important. How do we, get in?
We need to stand here, here, and here. On 3, we push. 1, 2, 3. Oh, Grump! I could have killed us all! What did I do wrong?
Hey, it's okay, Agabel. That was kind of scary, but we're fine. We'll just try it again and...
No, I'll try it again. You 2 are going home.
Agabel, I want to find Lizbert just as badly as you do. You don't have to do this alone.
Yes, I do! I'm a burden to everybody around me. That's why she's gone. I was being stupid, and I slipped up on the cliffs while I was trying to show off. The earthquake hit, and I was gonna fall, but Liz saved me, like she always does. She got swept away, and then the ground opened beneath her, and it swallowed her up.
I'm so sorry, Agabel. You know, when I was looking for Lizbert, I got really hungry. I couldn't catch Bugsnax, so I tried eating this purple flower, but then I threw up. And then I went blind for a bit, and then I fell in a hole. And by the time I dragged myself out of there, I was so tired and hungry I could barely move. That's when we met, buddy.
Filbo, that's awful.
It was, because, you know, I can't make it on my own like you and Lizbert. And it's times like those when I could really use a doctor.
All right, I get it. I need some time to think. I still want to figure out what I got wrong. When I do, I'll come find you.
And then we'll find Liz together.
Thank you, Filbo. Stay safe.
After all of that, Igabel was convinced to return to Snacksburg so that we could reevaluate. And hey, look at that, another achievement. Before heading back myself, I took some time to catch a few more Bugsnax from around the mountain. Also, I could lug them back down the mountain to donate them to Gramble's humble cause. I then found Filbo to have a chat with him. He was super keen to throw the biggest welcome home party for all of the Grumps. This did not come without a classic point of no return message. We were in the endgame now, my friends, and I was pumped and ready to see how this crazy adventure was gonna end. The lights were going, the music was pumping, and it was my task to get everyone out on the dance floor. Trouble is, no one wanted to get up there, so it was a bit of a mission to get everyone there. Filbo voluntarily hit the dance floor first. Are we surprised? And Beffica, to my surprise, followed suit. I managed to get Gramble and Wambus to make nice with each other for once, and they hit the dance floor next. Triffany managed to convince herself and Floofty to experiment with quote-unquote ancient combat techniques, and they were off and away. I then popped open a ball of confetti over Shelda, which was all the convincing she needed. With Chandlo now free, Snorpy was able to finally express his feelings for him, and in a wholesome turn of events, Chandlo thought that they'd been dating for years. Aw, it's the most wholesome type of mix-up. Anyway, the two lovebirds hit the dance floor. All Wiggle needed was a beveragino to get her on the floor, and with no business left, Cromdo was the final grump to boogie their way to the others.
We did it, buddy. We're all together again. Well, almost all of us. But you know what? Knowing Agabella's out there gives me hope that Lizbert is out there too. I mean, none of this would have been possible without you, buddy. I know you have to go back for your job eventually, but I'd sure miss you if you left.
Unfortunately, our moment was suddenly interrupted by Shelda. She was crying out that the end was nigh, and all of a sudden a big earthquake hit the island.
All right, I know this looks bad, but as long as we keep calm...
Our doom approaches! Pray to your gods, children! It's the Queen of Bugsnax! She's rising from the depths to devour us all!
The Grumpinati aim to silence us for good. Their machinations are coming to fruition.
Now hold on. We're not gonna die because of some cult or monster.
That's right.
We're gonna die because the volcano's going off.
That's right. Wait, what?
Suppose we're gonna end up buried like all the others, eh?
Come on, bro. We can survive this. As long as we got Bugsnax, we'll be fine.
My barn collapsed! All of my little ones escaped!
Bummer.
Whoa, 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 we're homeless and out of Bugsnax? Oh, it's a grumpy grump world now.
Dibs on eating Filbo.
Please do. I'm quite curious to see the result. Will Beffica turn into Filbo or the Bugsnax he's eaten? Hold on a moment while I retrieve my notes.
Hey, don't give up yet. We may not have homes or snacks, but we have each other. I know it's pretty scary right now, but we can't fall apart every single time something bad happens. We have to stick together.
In the middle of our little group discussion, Igabel showed up. Much to everyone's shock, it turns out she managed to solve the enigma of the immovable door. So Filbo and I were to assist Igabel while the rest of the grumps found a way off the island.
Well, none of that matters if I starve to death.
We got my sauce.
No way, pal. I ain't gonna chow down on that nasty plant goop. I stand corrected.
Igabel, Filbo, and I made our way up through the Sugar Pine Woods, and eventually to the Frosted Peak. This time though, Igabel knew exactly what she was doing.
How do we get this thing open, Igabel?
Turns out she wrote the order backwards. I guess even the great Elizabeth Megafig can still make mistakes.
Well, nobody's nerfed, right? Okay, I'm ready when you are.
We're coming, Liz. 1, 2, 3!
What the hell is this place? This is like some Bugsnax underworld. Oh my god, what is that thing? I managed to find Filbo nearby and scare away the monstrosity before it did anything. I ran with Filbo in an attempt to find Igabel, but what we ran into was much, much worse.
Let them through.
Oh, Lisbert! It's you! You're alive!
Filbo, you're here.
I can't believe it! We've got so much catching up to do!
I wish I could, but we're out of time. You have to get out of here. You have to gather up the others and get off the island.
Okay, then we can talk on the way back.
No, Filbo, I can't go with you like this. I'm so sorry. I regret inviting you. You came here to interview Elizabeth Megafig? Fine. Keep it quick. This is the island's true form. It's Bugsnax all the way down.
That's kind of amazing.
It's disgusting once you understand what Bugsnax really are. They're parasites. They get inside you and they change you, your body and your mind. They make you want them. And before you know it, you become them. You'll show them a weakness and they'll exploit it. What you see here, this is what's left of everybody who came before us, of every living thing that wasn't Bugsnax. They always win. After I saved Igabel, I fell into this place. Before I knew what was happening, I was swarmed. Bugsnax were crawling down my throat. They tried to erase me, to make me into them. I almost lost myself, but somehow I pushed back. I made them into me. I'm sorry if I scared you. I just wanted to make everyone leave this awful place. The Bugsnax are in a frenzy. They have been since we came here. They're so ravenous that they're shaking the ground apart. I'm the only thing keeping this island together right now, but it's like fighting a tsunami with a bucket. There, You have your answers. I hope you write a story worth telling.
This island was a parasite-filled hellhole about to explode, and there was nothing we could do to stop it. All of that time we spent finding and feeding the other grumps Bugsnax. How many of the Bugsnax we caught were just the husks of other grumps who'd come before us? I'd hate to think. Lisbert bravely offered to hold the Bugsnax back long enough for us to escape, and Eggabell made a stupidly courageous decision to join Lisbert in her weird Bugsnax form. The ultimate proof of love, to be with your loved one no matter what the circumstances. And before I knew it, Eggabell and Lisbert had thrown me out of the mountain and into the cool island air. We woke up back on the island, and Filbo and I made no hesitation in running back to the others. A battered and bruised Snacksburg is what we returned to. Snorpy was getting my balloon ship up and running while the others were valiantly fighting off the hordes of Bugsnax. How did this game get so apocalyptic so quickly? Filbo offered to finish fueling the balloon. I, on the other hand, went to fight the good fight.
But here comes someone with a healthy capacity for violence. Take this device and clear a path for us, please.
Chum, over here! I've just finished another device, the Trip Drone. With this, we can hold off the Bugsnax and escape before Chandlo collapses. Relocating. Don't trip! Take that, Grumpinati! We're not safe until we're off this horrid rock. To the balloon!
Fire in the hole! Whoa, they're toast!
Oh, bestie! You're just in time for the end of the world. But now that you're here, if you take over the launch pad, Cromdo can pick up the speed on those barrels.
Here, take this. Another one. Here, take this.
Oh, it looked pretty nasty for a sec, but I knew you'd pull through, bestie.
Darling, I've got them all warmed up. It's time for you to bring the house down. No time for an encore, Gramble dear. We better boogie.
Would you mind helping out? Just a matter of life and death is all.
Get, come on.
That's about as big a break as we're gonna get. Come on, Wamby. It's now or never.
Every single grump survived the onslaught of Bugsnax. We all made it back to Filbo just in time to take off. And when it seemed that history was going to repeat itself, Lisbert and Eggabell came flying out of nowhere to ensure our safety. And we took off into the sky, looking out over the place we once called home. Now back on the mainland, the grumps all stood looking back out at Snacktooth Island in the distance. I talked to every single grump. They'd all grown and learnt to amend their flaws. Snoopy learnt that he could share everything with Chandlo. Chandlo realized his personal limit was reached, and what he could do with Snorpy was unlimited. Shelda accepted that she just needed to be herself. Whoever will listen will listen. Floofty would open themselves up to friendships in the name of science. Cromdo doesn't need a Bugsnax empire and scams, he just needs some good honest work. Beffica learnt that she can make new friends and lead a life that isn't full of gossip and pushing people away. Gramble realized he's got people like Wiggle to make him feel loved even when he can't see that. Wiggle finally found her next muse. It was soon as she stopped thinking about it that it came to her. And Triffany and Wambus are starting their relationship anew, to make sacrifices for each other and to grow together as it were. As for Filbo, well, I agreed to let him return home with me for a while to help me write my story so that no one sets foot on Snacktooth Island ever again. He even came with me to see C. Clumby Clumbernut, my boss. Clumby was stoked with my piece, but unfortunately, I was fired. Yeah, the second I walked out of that door to go to Snacktooth Island is when I lost my job, apparently. But hey, I wouldn't have it any other way. Okay, well, maybe without the zombie horde of Bugsnax parasites, I guess, but Bilbo told me that he was gonna run for town mayor, and I couldn't think of anyone more suited for the job. The credits started to roll goal, and that was the end of the game. You'll be surprised to know this, but I did some research on the ending of the game, and it turns out that there are alternative endings. There's one where half the grumps don't survive, and there's one where all of them don't survive. So all I can say is let's be grateful that I got the good ending.
No, I sent them away. It would be hard to make them disappear at this point.
Do they suspect anything?
Hard to say. Could be they're idiots. Could be they know the truth and they're keeping it quiet.
Very well. We will have to keep our eye on them.
That's a little ominous. We've reached that part of the video where, with the main game complete, we start rounding up the remaining achievements. This is a 100% video after all. As of this point, I had 15 out of the 30 achievements. The game also dropped me back in time to just before the point of no return, so we were free to go about as we pleased. So I got to work. I knew I would have to capture every single Bugsnax for an achievement, so first of all, I got the remaining snacks left at Flavor Falls. Garden Grove, luckily, I had already finished. I then got the remaining Bugsnax at Simmering Springs, and while I was there, I collected all of the snack pods for an achievement called Grab Bag. Next on my hit list was the Scorched Gorge. It wasn't too hard to find and collect the last few Bugsnax here. The ones I donated to Gramble's Ranch got me the final inventory upgrade and my next achievement in the Arms of Gramble. My Bugsnax collecting continued up to the Sugar Pine Woods. I spent a bit more time up here since I hadn't been up here a whole lot, but eventually I managed to also catch all 10 Bugsnax. It was by this point I started to task myself with transforming every single grump with Bugsnax. Better to start it early on with all the Bugsnax I'm collecting at the moment. I was then off to the Sizzling Sands, unsurprisingly to fill my Bugpedia once more. It took some time, but we managed to catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Call me Ash the way I'm collecting Bugsnax. There were 2 left over, but my guess was that they were to do with the legendary Bugsnax, so I left it there for now. I did the exact same thing over in the Boiling Bay. Can't say too much else because it's just me snatching up snacks. There were also 2 left over, just like the Sizzling Sands. Side quest legendary Bugsnax, no doubt. The final area I went after was the Frosted Peak. I did get distracted catching some Scoopy Banoopies for 2 separate side quests, but it was a lot of the same. My skill for catching Bugsnax was certainly growing exponentially, however. Oh, and I helped Snorpy light some flares. Anywho, the Frosted Peak was complete, excluding what I assume is another legendary Bugsnax. And I was having good fun turning all of the grumps into mishmashed Bugsnax creatures. Triffinia and I hit the Frosted Peak for her side quest. Unfortunately, we did not find Bronica Lotterberg. However, I did find myself back up here for a 1v1 against a Daddy Cake Legs, Snorpy's ultimate conclusion for seismic events. After a fierce battle with the legendary Bugsnax, I whittled the Daddy Cake Legs down to catch it. Another legendary Bugsnax down, only 2 to go. Shortly after, I got to see a whole island raise out of the ground. Yeah, crazy, right? Luckily, that allowed me to sling cheese sauce onto Chandlo and take a picture of him. Oddly enough, that gave me another achievement. Afterwards, I sped right through Shelda's side quests, which was basically finding her Bugsnax that she wishes to purge, only to find out that she's just eaten them. A little later on, Wiggle brought me to Boiling Bay with her, in hopes that a legendary Bugsnax would give her the biggest music single the world of Grumpuses has ever seen. So I went face to face with the Mega Marquee. It was easy enough to whittle down so that I could capture the mighty beast. It did not give Wiggle the inspiration she was hoping for. Either way, we managed to get a ragtag team of grumps to take on the island that had risen out of the sea, and we were headed to the island of Broken Tooth. Now, quick side note, it was only until after recording that I realized that this was DLC, which means I was not really aware of any extra content to do with the DLC. That being said, I won't go into too much detail about what I was doing on the island, except that the island is filled with gigantic Bugsnax. The premise was that you helped all of the grumps here with their own personal quests on the island. I even got an achievement for catching 100 unique species of Bugsnax, promptly named Gotta Catch 'Em All. The adventure led us to a temple on the island, where we fought a gigantic Cheddar Bortle Rex with our very own gigantic Sprout. Overall, very fun DLC. I got the Deep Impact achievement for finishing it. I know there's more to the DLC now, but I wasn't aware of it at the time. So I guess we're just gonna keep trucking right ahead. Back in the safety of Snacktooth Island, ironic because it's actually on the brink of collapse as we're all well aware, I finished off Cromdo's side quest by taking down the massive Mothza Supreme, revenge for taking out my ship at the very start of the game. That was the very last legendary Bugsnax, which got me the achievements Bossy Bugs and Sidetracked for completing all of the side quests. Afterwards, I knocked off another easy achievement, Clothesline, for tripping a Bugsnax with the trip shot attached to Sprout's buggy ball. I had been hard at work transforming Grumps too. The last Grump I needed to transform was Shelder, so after a few Bugsnax donated to her purge box, I woke up and got the achievement. God, she just can't help herself, can she? I then went on to transform Beffica with a Cherry, a Banoppa, and a Scoopy to get the Sunday Best achievement. This was then followed by the collection of hats. Gramble's farm here has a hat collection board. The board tells me where to find one. I go and capture the Bugsnax wearing the hat, and voila, I have a new hat. Do that 10 times and you get the Dapper Kappa achievement. Not to mention, I stole Beffica's diary somewhere in the process. The devs are cheeky for making that an achievement. I could have done with this achievement a bit earlier on. I got That Reminds Me of a Puzzle for solving the Lava Fall puzzle in Boiling Bay. It opens up a passageway to the Sizzling Sands. I now only had 2 achievements left to get, and of course, in true Poxiel fashion, I left one of the grindiest ones until last, the mail order quests. More specifically, I had to fully furnish my hut, and in order to do that, I needed to complete a lot of these mail order quests. So for the next hour or so, I pulled my sleeves up and I did them, collecting sacks, getting knocked out of bounds, setting myself on fire for over 30 seconds, anything to grind this out. Eventually, Chandlo built me a second story to my house, and a while after that, I got a single roof decoration. It was the last piece of decor I needed, and there it was. Live, laugh, hut. Thank God. The very final achievement was to scan the Snack Squatch, the monster we now know is being controlled by Lizbert. I'd heard rumors that it sometimes appears in the Scorched Gorge, so I used Cromdo's old sleeping bag to sleep until midnight. I quickly whipped around when I woke up, and there it was. I quickly pulled out my camera, snapped a picture of it, unlocking our final achievement, Candid Cryptid. And with that, we had 100%ed the entirety of Bugsnax. I was very excited, as you can clearly see. As I looked out over the town of Snacksburg, I was reminded of the memories we made here, and what a crazy, weird, and wholesome adventure this game has been. The twists and turns that this game has made me experience was unlike any other. The friends we made along the way and the characters we met, I will certainly not be forgetting for a long time. All I can hope is that you all had a great time watching it all unfold. And I don't know about you, but all of this Bugsnax talk has made me quite hungry. I think I'm gonna go get a snack. Well, there you have it, folks. That is 100% of Bugsnax done and dusted. As you can see, we managed to get all 30 achievements in just under 19 hours. Not too shabby if you ask me. Like I said, I had a blast playing this game. And if you enjoyed watching and you want to see more 100% videos, then leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel to let me know. I'd appreciate that a lot. Anyway, there's not much else to say to you all except thank you so much for making it this far. You're all wonderful people, so have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching.